All right. This is exciting. This is one of the goals that I had for Collab Lab for this year was to spin up a second project and maybe a third project if we are ambitious later in the year, but something that's a little bit different. I'm not really sure how this is going to go. It's going to be a lot more like TCL 1, I think, where like I'm your mentor. You know, I have a rough project plan, but I think part of what's going to happen over the course of the next 8 weeks is we're going to find out like this story I did in like an hour. So let's put some more meat on that one. And this one, oh my God, that's like 2 weeks of work. What were you thinking? Let's break it up into multiple stories. We're going to find out those things kind of along the way. But that's what the whole thing's about is, you know, we're gonna build another little app, but you know, we're kind of trying to prepare a project for future cohorts to tackle. So I will share my screen. I'll share my screen. Where's my screen? There we go. That's the one. So here's the project brief. So this is pretty similar to what you saw with the last project, where we have a project brief that outlines a bunch of things. I'll run through the app just really quick. So this is an app that I just finished building. You know, I've built this over like the last 8 weeks or so myself. But it's a little app that you know, you install it on your phone, and you can like walk around, or actually my partner and I went for a drive, and I just had it up on the dashboard, and it was like just showing Wikipedia stuff as we were driving around the city. So you kind of discover, you know, like historic houses, or, oh, there was a shipwreck here, or like whatever, you know. So pretty wild, really fun. So the idea is basically Wikipedia has an API, their nearby API, and this is basically just like having the user share their location, like so their device shares a location. We send that location off to the API. It comes back with, you know, sort of within a certain radius of a bunch of Wikipedia entries that are nearby. So by default, when you kind of first come to the app, you know, it loads up, and you are just sort of centered on the Kennedy School here in Portland, which is an old historic building. But you can drag the map around, and it'll find new pins, find new places. You can also, you share your location. I hope this is going to work in this browser. And it'll then center on your actual location. And then eventually it'll fill in pins that are kind of nearby, like where I am right now. So that little blue dot is where I am. So you can click on these guys, and you see, you know, there's a title, a thumbnail, a description, and then a link off to the Wikipedia article for the place. What other features? So if you notice, like if I drag this now, really laggy, sorry about that. This little icon up in the top left, it kind of went from gray to red. So that's a little bullseye thing. So you can click that to have it center back on you. You click on the title here, and you get back to that first screen, which has a little bit of help. So it kind of opens up this video that shows you how to install it as an app on your home screen. So there's a video for iOS, and there's a video for Android. And the quality of these videos isn't great. They're just kind of things that I kind of threw together. And then the last thing is there is this little modal. You guys are just working on modals this week, right? Internationally, right? So this little modal that allows you to control how fast it refreshes. So, you know, if you're driving, you might want it to be refreshing kind of almost continuously because you're moving at a high rate of speed. If you're walking around, you know, you might set it to be every 30 seconds because your location is not changing that often or that fast, and you can save a little battery if it's not, you know, hitting the server all the time. So that's what that little modal does. And that's basically the app. So otherwise, it's just a kind of a standard Google map. You can you know, zoom in and zoom out and all that kind of stuff. what I found tricky about building this myself was there's a lot of state to manage. So and and plus there's like the stuff that's kind of happening asynchronously at the same time, and so it gets a little tricky. I got myself into a bunch of race conditions where it's like it was like trying to hit the server like every second, and I was like, no, stop, So it'll be kind of fun to work through some of that stuff together. Since I've been through it, I know where some of those pitfalls are, so I can kind of help you through it. But we'll take it like any project. We'll take it kind of one step at a time and kind of figure it out. So that's the end goal. This is what you have right now, right? You have just a create React app, just basic app. But yeah, this is an actual place here in Portland, the Doll Asylum. Really creepy. I was like, what is this place? Anyway, so that's what we're building. If you do get stuck or you want to kind of see how I implemented something, my repo is up there. You can go look at that. Obviously, you have this app as reference for kind of what we're aiming for. There is no database here, so there's no Firebase or anything like that. So in the locations for things, you'll notice there's no Firebase console. But we have a site up and kind of up and running at the on Netlify already. So that's there. There's a repo, there's your URL to clone it, and then we do have the issue list. So we'll go through some of that in a second. The idea is that this is going to be the same kind of thing, like around 5 hours a week for 8 weeks, hopefully. If it's not that now, we will try to make it so that it is that in the future for future cohorts. It's actually interesting because I kind of wonder. It sounds like there's a lot of desire to have for people do a second cohort, right? So this could be like the shopping list is kind of 101 and this might be 201, kind of in a progression or something. So because I think it is more difficult in some ways. So if you kind of anyway, we'll see how it goes. We'll kind of talk about it as we go through and see where we think it fits. But anyway, yeah, this first week, we're kind of Amber and Jen work together, and Ashling and Matthew work together, and we'll just kind of go through it. Pair programming, this is all the same. We'll do the same kind of weekly sync that we did. Where odd numbered weeks we do a learning module, although we kind of used up all the learning modules for like the smart shopping list. So I'm not sure what we could do, but if you have topics that you're interested in, let me know and I'll try to put something together for that. And then we'll do retros on the even numbers weeks. And then let's see, the cadence is pretty much the same. We try to front load stuff, get as much kind of done Monday to Wednesday as possible so we can get into that review cycle and get things merged towards the end of the week and the weekend. And let's see. So we have the stories. I only have 13 stories written. So I am anticipating that we'll get into it and decide that, we should break something up, that it's, the scope is a little bit too big or something. But yeah, so we'll actually talk about the specifics of that in a minute. What else? I guess, y'all are kind of fresh off your cohorts. Amber's cohort was a little bit earlier, so I think we've changed a few things since she went through. So at that time, we were recommending people do wiki pages each week, but I think probably the draft PR thing works a little bit better, and taking notes in the issue. So, but it's kind of up to you how you want to do that. But I would definitely recommend kind of documenting your work as you go, like what your thought process and stuff somewhere, whether it's a wiki page or somewhere else. Just kind of put it out somewhere where I can kind of get to it and see it, so that if you ask me for help, I can kind of see what your thought process has been up to that point. Yeah, let's see what else to cover. So same kind of thing where you create the branch, push the branch up, create the we'll do the same kind of thing where it's you create a pull request, have the other team review, then have me review, and then kind of get it merged towards the end of the week. So, so yeah, so that's kind of the project. So it goes a lot faster when I know that you all have some context on it. Are there any questions about sort of what we're building or any of the process stuff? Matthew, is this relatively the same as like what you remember going through? How we're running it?
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's changed too much.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Nice. Yeah. So maybe let's talk about these first couple of issues. So I'm just going to move these 1 and 2 into in progress. Super laggy. So the two things that we have for these first two are just to make the basic layout. So a header, a sort of a main section, and a footer. So, whoops, that's not the one. So the, come on. Okay, so the header being this kind of this blue bar up at the top, this main section being where the map is, and the footer. There might be a more semantic thing to call this actually, because it's not strictly a footer. It's not like a copyright notice. It actually has content that we need to see. So if you think of a better name for it than footer, that's fine. But basically, like creating that basic layout where you have maybe a 20 pixel header or something. About 2/3 of that vertical screen space is where the map is going to go, and then about 1/3 of the screen space is where the information at the bottom should go. So, so that's pretty straightforward, right? Like creating some structure and a little bit of CSS to kind of get those things kind of proportioned correctly. And then the other one is just to get a basic map rendering. So we have an API key. There's this Google Map React kind of package that I used for mine. So it has some kind of convenience stuff that it gives you, and that's nice. Like it'll take care of inserting the Google Maps API script tag with the API key and those kinds of things. And then it has a couple of like kind of a Google Map component that you can drop in, and it should render the map. And then it also gives you the ability to kind of hook into the raw Google Maps API, which we'll need later on. It gives you like a convenience prop for when the API is loaded, so you know that the map is kind of ready to interact with and stuff like that. So, so I looked at a couple of other. There are several Google Map like React components out there, but this one seemed good. Like I had a couple of hiccups with it, but then once I figured it out, like their documentation honestly isn't the best, but it's better than the other ones. So I think it's probably worth using it. But so anyway, so we'll make a sort of a map component. One of the things actually, so I have functional here in italics because we should be using functional components wherever we can. When I built mine, the default sort of example that the documentation for this component or this package gives you is a class component, because this package is a couple years old, so you might need to translate that into a functional component. But as it's it's pretty simple at this point. So if we do that now, like I got kind of halfway through the app and I was like, oh, this really should be a functional component. Oh no, it's far too late. Like I have way too much going on for me to go through it all and translate it back. But if we do it right at the beginning, I think it'll be good to just kind of get that pattern set. Right. So yeah, so those are the first two issues. Who's excited about which one of those?
Maps.
Maps. That's cool. Is that?
Yeah, I meant to say, I've actually done it before with JavaScript for my other project ages ago. I've done Map API, and I know Jen was very excited to do it. So I think Jen,
okay.
If you need help, I don't know if I can help you, but I did it 6 months ago.
I will hit you up.
Okay.
Yeah, well, it's actually good. It's good that you have some experience with it, because I mean I've been working with the Google Maps API for ever, like 10 years or something, and I still I learned stuff through the course of this project, and found stuff
Really?
that was
Wow.
like tricky and stuff. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, it'll be good that you have some experience already. But we're all going to have some experience at the end.
Here's open.
Yep. Yeah. Okay, so I will. Let's see. Where do you assign people? Here we go. So the map one, it's Jen and Amber.
Probably like a silly question, Andrew, but like, will all of our maps look the same even though we're living in different places? Are we setting a place for the map? Or will I see Vancouver like her?
The app, like the component needs a default center.
Right.
It needs a lat long to start with.
Okay.
But then as soon as you hit share location, it'll center on you.
Ah, okay, cool. Cool.
Yeah.
That's great.
But depending on what we set that center to, you may get to know Portland a little bit through the course of this or whatever. So.
Try and make a trip down.
Yeah. No, we could find some interesting spot to have it center on too, you know, Paris or something like that.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, and then the layout. Cool. Is there anything about this first story, these first stories that like do we need to talk through any of the kind of points of it, or do you feel like can you kind of imagine an approach? Just like the layout, like kind of creating that structure. Does that feel comfortable for you, Ashley, and Matt?
Yeah, I think it seems relatively straightforward.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, yeah, Jen, yeah, definitely get together with Amber later and get in, yeah, look at the documentation for that component, you know, obviously install that component into the project and yeah, like try to find I guess maybe like the simplest possible example of that because we really all we need is just have a map rendering, right? Just
show up, yeah.
Yeah, it just makes sure that like the API key is correct and like that it's rendering, and then we'll be good. I think the API key, I've set it up so that it will render for localhost port 3000 and for, well, let's see, for our production URL. It should be good for both those. But if you see, like if what happens with Google Maps if you don't have the API key correct is it puts an overlay and it says development only or something like that on it. So if you see that, let me know and there's some settings I can adjust.
Have we already installed a package to obscure the API key? For when
we
push it up?
haven't.
Okay.
It's actually the Google Maps API console has a way to restrict it to certain host names and stuff. So
so we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, we can put the key in the repo. It's no problem.
Okay.
It's a really good question. If we wanted to, we could make an environment variable in Netlify or something, but and have like I don't know what we do on like our local environments, but yeah, it's safe to put the key in the repo. Yeah, let's see. Anything else? I feel like that was really fast.
Since this is like a pilot one or something, do you want like more documentation than what we kind of did like from the first one to kind of have a better idea of how everything's going and things like that, or what is your expectation for this?
Yeah, I think the main thing that I'm concerned about is that the stories are going to be like wildly different in size, you know? So there might be one week where it's super easy and another week where it's like, it'd be like 20 hours of work or something, you know? So as we go, maybe, you know, maybe each week we kind of talk about like how the stories were sized or something, like we kind of maybe do a little bit more of that. Kind of a continuous retro kind of thing. The other thing I was toying with was, you know, if this is everybody's second project, like if it really is a 201, we could, you know, like the way that we run the shopping list one is kind of, it's very Scrum-like. So Scrum is a methodology where you have 2-week sprints and you know, you kind of have certain, like there's a certain cadence to it. But there's another methodology called Kanban, which is more of a, it's like a flow of work. It's like a river of work that comes through. And so you may, like the tricky part about that is like the switching off of the pairing. Like it's be hard to do if like, you know, if something lasted a week and a half and like something else was only half a week, like how would you like have people switch off? So it would have to be a lot more fluid. We'd have to be just like kind of on the fly sort of self-organizing and stuff. And I'm not sure if that's a good idea or not.
So do you kind of mean like thinking towards the next task earlier in the week, kind of if you're finished one task, you're kind of looking at task 2?
Yeah. We wouldn't have to
okay.
work. We wouldn't have to wait till Sunday to kind of pick up the next day.
Yeah.
But then again, I also want to be respectful of people's time, right? So
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was thinking of, keeping it with the sort of the week cadence where you know, there's a boundary where you know you're switching who you're pairing with, and kind of a goal of getting to that thing being done. But I absolutely anticipate at least 2 or 3 of these stories kind of flowing over to the next week. So,
okay.
I mean, we can, you know, if we get to, so something that, an approach for these might be to even take it at the acceptance criteria level and like maybe ship a PR that satisfies one of the criteria if you can, and then ship a PR that satisfies the next criteria. That way, if we get to the end of the week and they're not, like say there are 3 and we only get 2 of them done, we carry over that one acceptance criteria to the next week. Like maybe you still switch who you're pairing with and you just pick up the last piece of the story.
That's a good idea. Yeah. It's a very good idea.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. It's amazing the difference. Just like when, like 8 weeks ago, when we did a kickoff for your cohort, like that would have been, like that's like way too much to kind of like keep track of, right? And like I just feel like you all have the context and like oh yeah, we can be a little more creative with it or something. It's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's a totally different ballgame. Like, because like everything was new for me. Like I had never committed 8 weeks ago, so it's like it's just there's so much more opportunities, and stuff like this. So yeah.
Nice.
So there you go.
Cool. All right. Well, we don't need to make the meeting longer than it has to be. If y'all are clear on kind of what needs to happen, and you know, just I'll be around in Slack. So you know, I anticipate there being some really sticky things that you get into, and you're like, I have no idea how to do this, or how to like debugging stuff that's asynchronous is a trip. You know, I don't know if you saw it in was it in Learning Together, maybe in that channel, where I posted something about my console logs when I was working on this, and I had emoji and stuff in the console log because it was all flying by so fast. Well, I had the emoji to kind of like help myself like understand where things were happening, you know. So yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Good times ahead. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. But it's very real world, so I feel like it'll be a good learning experience for sure.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep. Awesome. All right. Anything else? We're good?
Nope, I'll just touch base, I suppose.
Yeah, right on. Okay, cool. Well, I'll let you all get to it, and I'll see you in Slack. But thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. See you folks. Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a good week, everyone.
Yeah, you too.